Fresh air, longer days, a chance to reset. This season, let therapy be part of your spring cleaning. Clearing mental clutter, shaking off stuckness, and building something better. Grow Therapy helps you get there. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 15th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Welcome to True Crime to Go. What can I get for you?
Got a tall order for you today. I want a guy on top of the world making billions of dollars. The best Avenger, Robert Downey Jr.
Up to the second window, and we'll see you next crime.
Welcome to True Crime to Go. I am John, here with Jamie, who was rudely cut off by the customer service rep.
You know, I liked it better when I just edited her part to where it fit what we said, but I'll get her. I'll get her.
That's all right. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, man. I mean,
know that there were some shenanigans, but I don't know what they all were.
Well, you're going to find out today.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure.
Okay. So, spoiler alert, you've done the research, so I'm going into this blind, but I'm going to say cocaine and alcohol.
I mean, that's the start of a list. I'll tell you that.
All right.
There is literally a section in my outline that says rock bottom, but we've only got 10 minutes. So let's get rolling. RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, on top of the world. Now he's going to be Dr. Doom, I guess. But before that, he had a really hard time and really did hit rock bottom in the late 90s. So we'll start with 96. That's when things started to escalate for him. He was, I don't know, he was a star early in his life, and he overindulged. He got pulled over on Sunset Boulevard in LA. They searched his vehicle, and they found heroin, cocaine, and a .357 Magnum handgun. Not a great combination, so he was arrested on the spot for that.
Yeah, now he didn't just stumble into addiction. He really grew up around it. His father, who was filmmaker Robert Downey Sr., introduced him to drugs at a young age, something that Downey himself has spoken about publicly. By his teens, substances was, already a big part of his life. And when he reached Hollywood success, addiction had tightened its grip around him. So you mentioned this incident. I'm assuming this is the first of many.
Yes, definitely not the lone incident.
So heroin, cocaine, and a .357 Magnum, that's not a great place to start.
Sounds like the start of a bad joke, right? So it's bad, right? And then it didn't get any better. He was released later that week, and he went on to wander into a neighbor's house in Malibu. He wasn't invited, but he was drunk, and he walked into somebody's house, into a bedroom, and went to sleep in a child's bed in a stranger's house in Malibu.
Did he get that heroin as he left the prison?
Yeah, I mean, he was under the influence of something, not really sure what it was. Obviously, they called the police, and he was arrested again, and this was actually 2 arrests technically within 24 hours. And of course, this is all over the news.
Yeah, and the list would continue to grow. He would be charged with multiple offenses after that initial arrest, and actually the initial day with 2 arrests, drug possessions, weapon charges, trespassing. It was bad. Yeah. He was sentenced to probation. The court required regular drug testing and treatment and a strict compliance to his plan. And This was just a chance to turn it around, but addiction doesn't always follow court orders, and things kept going out of control.
And John, professionally, take it for a serious second here. Like, addiction is not something that somebody can just flip a switch and I'm going to get better. Like, it is life altering, disease ridden. Like, it's awful when somebody gets trapped inside it.
If you don't understand addiction, think of it as you've used this to the point where your body needs it just as much as it needs food and oxygen.
Yeah.
You have to have it in order to live. So yes, people would love to be able to just flip a switch and turn it off, but they have become physically dependent, not mentally, physically.
Right. Yeah. Your body needs it. And that's where he was. And he was on probation, but he violated probation within a year because in 97, he missed a drug test. And that's finally when he was sentenced to jail time. He spent 6 months in jail. And we start to see a little bit of a change here because now this isn't just a celebrity with a problem. This is somebody who's a repeat offender in the eyes of the law, somebody who has been offered opportunity after opportunity and continues to go down the wrong path. And talk to me a little bit about rock bottom, John.
Yeah, in 1999, that's when this was worst case scenario. He had failed additional drug tests. He's missed court-ordered rehab requirements, and the judges reached a breaking point. The judge was named Lawrence Myra, and he made his stance very clear. Downey was sentenced to 3 years in state prison. During sentencing, the judge famously told him, "It's like you've got a shotgun in your mouth and you like the taste of the gunmetal." It was a stark assessment of how self-destructive things had become for Robert Downey Jr. Downey entered the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility. This wasn't a quick in and out situation. This was real incarceration. I did not know that he was going to spend that much time in
Yeah, I mean, this is not your typical celebrity slap on the wrists, go to a vacation and call it rehab situation. He served a full year before he was released on probation. And, everybody has their setbacks, and he had one pretty quickly. He had another relapse, and he was arrested again in 2000 and again in 2001 on more drug charges. So now not only is this a legal issue, Hollywood has essentially cut him off. Studios started to create distance. He had landed a role on the Ally McBeal show. You remember that one?
I don't remember that
You
one.
don't remember Ally McBeal?
I do not.
He had a role on that, but that didn't even last. He was fired after getting arrested again. And it really wasn't until the early 2000s that things finally started to turn around for him.
Yeah, he committed to sobriety and he sought treatment. And over time, he was able to rebuild the trust that was broken. And that's just as hard to do for a drug addict as getting off the drugs initially.
It is. And I mean, you're not just building trust with family, which he did, and that's important, but he had to build trust with an industry, with an audience, with the world in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he had been written off completely, and he would go on to become one of the biggest stars in the world. In 2008, he was cast as Tony Stark in the movie Iron Man. And I remember vividly when this came out, and it wasn't like it was controversial, but it was just like, this is a chance for him to redeem himself.
Yeah, I saw a lot of headlines that were like, ew, like the emoji where you're like showing your teeth, like a grimace. Like, really? Yeah. Is this worth it? And, he's the kind of guy who could, Marvel was looking to build an empire, and he could have tanked it off the bat.
And I think that the success speaks for itself. I mean, he seems to have stayed out of trouble. He seems to have stayed sober, and that was probably the role that will define his career. I mean, it was a huge success, $1 billion franchise, and he was one of the leading roles in it.
And we don't have all the details, but the real story happens between 2002 and 2008 when he does commit to sobriety, when he does put in the hard work and continues going back to rehab, even when it hasn't worked before, even when he has a relapse. He was at absolute rock bottom in prison, flunked out of rehab, but all that work that he put in, it took him 5 or 6 years to get to a place where somebody would give him a job. And if you're looking, we said if you don't understand addiction, learn about it. If you want to see an example of somebody working through it and being successful in it, because it never goes away. He's still addicted to those things. He's just got to abstain from them. But it's a good success story. People will say, oh, well, he's a movie star. Things are easy. Like, he did work hard, and it is a really cool story. It's just unfortunate that those parts of the story don't make headlines very much.
If he's anything like the folks that I know who have recovered and are staying sober, that work's not done. He has to put in work every day. So kudos to him if he is actually sober, and all reports seem that is the case. So keep up the good work, Robert, and let that be an example for anybody else. If you're struggling, it may not feel like it, but there's hope.
Don't screw up Dr. Doom. And, of course, this has been 10 minutes of a crime story, and it's been inevitable.
Would you like crime with that?
You've listened to True Crimecast, distributed by Stoveleg Media. Check out stoveleg.com to find out more about your hosts and to find other podcasts to listen to. Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.